What is going on, y'all? This is the Cave Fan. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 77 of Against the Blitz. And today we are starting to look ahead, dig into the future about the playoff picture for both the AFC and the NFC. We are going to talk about the state of some teams that aren't necessarily locked to make the postseason, and one reason why a team in specifics would miss and one reason why they would make it. Austin took the NFC. I took the AFC. This is going to be fun to kind of get into because there are some obvious answers for a lot of these teams, but we tried to get more than surface level and kind of peel the layers back on what really is going on with some of these franchises. But of course, before we get into it, make sure you're joining the Discord down in the description. And happy Thanksgiving. I think Panthers fans should be thankful for the Falcons this holiday because their franchise quarterback is only their franchise quarterback because of the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm freaking thankful if I'm like any halfway decent team in the AFC because like I think almost every single team has like a solid chance of making the playoffs somehow. Whereas in the NFC, it's already almost written in. Like we kind of already know who's in, and then there's like 3 teams on the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opposite case in the AFC. It's literally, it could be wide open. It is wide open for a lot of teams, and the picture could change very quickly in the blink of an eye. So it'll be fun to kind of indulge in this part of the discourse. And then, of course, over the next couple of weeks, we'll really get into predicting playoff pictures and finalizing our, long-term bracket is the word I'm looking for, our playoff brackets and such. But for now, let's get into one reason why they'll make it, one reason why they'll miss. Who is your first team in the NFC that you covered?
So I'm going to start with the Cowboys, who have the lowest chance of any of the bubble teams. ESPN has them as a 9% chance to make the playoffs, which feels funny, right? Like I feel like they're getting hot at the right time. Like they got Quinnen Williams, they got a bunch of guys back from injury, and they feel like a playoff team. It feels wrong if they're not there. And obviously, like a pretty obvious reason why they will make it is their offense, right? Like they, yardage wise, have the number 1 offense in the country and the 29th ranked defense in the NFL. But I think a reason why they could, to even kind of spice it up a little bit, is their defense. Because they've been, the best offense in the world. Like, that's pretty obvious. But they're getting Quinnen Williams. They got DeMarvion Overshown back. The defense is actually playing like a reasonable unit. Like they looked good against Philadelphia. They've looked good the last couple of weeks. So if this defense can even play as like the 19th best defense, the 22nd best defense, as long as their offense stays the best offense, this could be a like legitimate contender team.
Yeah, it really could. It's a shame that they didn't steal a game or two earlier in the season to kind of, boast their chances. But you're very correct. And something that I've been keeping in the back of my mind when it comes to like fantasy matchups and, what I'm going to bet on is not getting tricked by seeing like bad run stopping statistics for the Cowboys, because over the last couple of weeks, it's been completely flipped on its head how good they've been at stuffing the run with Quinnen Williams. So I'm being weary of that. So just generally speaking for anybody, like just because the Cowboys are green in all of your fantasy apps for your running backs doesn't mean it's necessarily a good matchup anymore. So it really, like I said, is a shame that it is the way it is for them because they are probably the most fun team in football to watch at the moment, to me at least.
Yeah, and there's teams that have chances percentage-wise better than them that I feel like aren't even half the football team they are. And the reason why I said they couldn't isn't even their defense anymore. It's just, like you said, they didn't steal enough games early. They're playing too far from behind. And as of how their division looks right now, the Eagles have 3 games on them. And it would just be a really, really hard crawl back, like having to pray that Philadelphia loses a bunch of games, they win a bunch of games, and even the other teams on the bubble are ahead of them record-wise. So it's really going to take some praying that other teams lose on top of them winning.
Yeah, and that's the worst part of the season is when you've lost control of your own destiny. You hear the term, you control your own destiny, and that's really the best thing you can be able to do when it comes to being a team in any sport. Once you have to start relying on other teams to win and lose, it does just feel like I don't want to say a lost cause at that point, but it's like, how far are you even really going to go in the playoffs anyway? Like, I hate being a Bills fan and hearing about how, oh man, Drake May and the Patriots won again. Now we're really not going to win the division. It's like, I don't give a fuck about what they're doing. We just win football games. We don't have to bother about them. So it's like, as long as Buffalo's winning, I don't care. Everybody gets angry when I'm like rooting for like Travion Henderson to score a touchdown in a game that we want the Patriots to lose. It's like, if the Bills aren't going to win their own football games, I'm not going to give a shit what the other teams are doing because we have our own problems. I hate that.
Right. Yeah, like you're obviously not rooting for the Patriots to win, but like you said, it's no use if your own team can't win. So, and obviously the Eagles aren't going to win every single game. Obviously the Packers and the Lions and all the other teams ahead of them aren't going to win every single game. So it's just their responsibility to go out and win games. And they've taken 2 in a row. They look really, really good. The offense even looks better than it did before. The defense looks better than it did before. I'm pretty bought in on Schottenheimer as a head coach as of right now. I think he has that locker room down. George Pickens hasn't said a peep, and he's a first-team All-Pro. Like, I'm in. It just, like you said, they started a little bit too cold, and they've had a tougher schedule. So, might not be their year, but I think if they can crawl their way there, they can make some serious noise.
Not to go on a Cowboys tangent, but I sometimes venture into the team universes on Twitter, and I ended up on Cowboys Twitter last night, and I saw someone tweet out something about Quinnen Williams, or quote tweet a Quinnen Williams run stopping statistic or something, and he said something along the lines of, I have a take that will piss off a large portion of this fan base. And I figure, of course, the insinuation is maybe the trade out for Micah and what they returned, including Quinnen Williams, was worth it. Maybe it was ultimately a good thing for their organization. And it's like, it's probably a little early to suggest such a thing. Although I'm not going to sit here and say I think the Cowboys have gotten fleeced after everything is said and done either. Like, it depends how the next 10 months go. But right now, it could be worse.
I think they've done a really, really good job at mitigating the damage for sure. Like, bringing in a top 5 defensive tackle in the league. He's still on contract for a couple years. That was great. I have no notes. But seeing as what Micah Parsons has done for the Packers defense, and he has MVP chances. Like, I do think there's a difference between a really impactful defensive tackle versus a terrifying football player. And the only issue was the payment. Like, they would have had to have paid him, and they probably would never have done that. So if you're not going to do that, at least mitigate the damage of the loss and go get a Pro Bowl D tackle and see what else you can do.
Yeah, true. It is just an interesting conversation because I think out of every ownership group and general manager, Jerry Jones catches probably the most flack, rightfully so, about his decision-making. But a lot of what he has done up to right this second has aged far better than a single soul could have predicted. And it's not because he knows what he's doing. I'm convinced he just stumbles into this shit, and he's on a good stroke of luck right now. He's betting black over and over at the roulette table. It just keeps landing black. But it's hard to really criticize much that he's done since, the start of the preseason up until now. So
yeah, the draft looks good. Their free agency class looks good. Like, every single player they brought in and coach even has been really impactful. And for a team that had to kind of come from behind, they've done a really good job, and they already look like a completely different team, at this point in the season versus week 1.
Yeah, they really do. It's a crazy world we're living in, giving Jerry Jones credit.
I know. Maybe he doesn't have to die.
We've talked about that too much out here. I think his potential departure from this planet. Nonetheless, the Cowboys are a good team, but it sucks that they're in the situation they're in.
Yeah.
Similar feelings about my first team being the Texans, and they right now, according to NFL.com, I don't know if this varies per source, but they have a current percentage to make the playoffs at 30%. at I think they're what? No, this might be pre-Bills game. They're 6-5 now, right?
I have no idea.
I think they are now 6-5. This must have been pre-week 12. This is an old article. Yeah, it is. So the odds are probably higher than that, but they're 6-5, and this defense it's ferocious. That is 100% the reason why they make it. I mean, they have a defense that is winning them football games single-handedly. Like, they've allowed the second least amount of yards or points per game, and they are the first team in terms of lowest amount of yards given up per game, with just 264 yards allowed per game. That is a ridiculous number. That is how many passing yards a lot of teams give up alone, on top of, rushing statistics. So they have been that suffocating. And I started to look into it. At the end of the day, it's really just about their edge rushers, their ability to rush four guys and get pressure. It's the best formula to win in football. If you're not going to have a franchise quarterback or a quarterback that can Superman your way to football games, the next best thing is having a defensive line that can get pressure consistently with four guys. It is a cheat code to winning in the NFL. They have that, but they've also married it with beautiful defensive backs and scheme on the back end. Like, obviously, Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter kind of highlight the group. Probably the second best, if not the best, defensive cornerback duo. But I also came to find out that Jalen Petre's really having a good season. He's missed the last few weeks, but he's broken out this year. Kalen Bullock has been excellent, especially coming out of the bye. And even Miles Bryant is his name. He stepped in for Petre. He wasn't bad. It's like every single player they put back there is playing well. Like, usually you struggle with pressure. The best way to attack it is by finding the weak link in the secondary. But there really is none. Like, I think Bullock and Petre combined have 8 interceptions, just them two. So it's hard to really poke any holes in this defense. Like, Petre is the 13th highest rated defensive back in terms of NFL passer rating against, and Bullock is third at 35.2 is the passer rating when thrown at. So it really is just, there's nothing bad you can say about the Texans defense, is the long story short.
Yeah, there's like really no notes. Like, maybe you could ask for a linebacker that didn't try to kill people all the time and get himself suspended. But even then, like, I'm not even talking about the sacks. I'm not even talking about the turnovers. Like, if you just watch a compilation of how hard they hit people and how it's interesting. Like, watching, I think, like, when I watch the Bills and the Bengals defenses, like, obviously the Bills are much better, but when you talk about like game speed, it looks like the Bills and Bengals play a different speed of defense than the Texans do. Like, it looks like they're on 1.5 speed or 2 times speed compared to the defenses we're used to watching. Because they are smart. Like, they are in the right place at the right time. Like, God, they are filled with athletes. And these aren't athletes that like second guess anything. Like, they are just going to diagnose, trigger, and just attack your bloodline like immediately. And it's on top of that, it's also the pressure with Will Anderson possibly being like a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. Danielle Hunter's already at double-digit sacks too. Derek Stingley's playing all pro level football. Like, if we can squeeze anything out of this offense, if we can get I don't even know where the hell Joe Mixon is, but if we can just get some kind of synergy coming on with this offense, get 18 points a game, I think they're going to start crushing people.
Yeah, it really is scary. Like, if you have the Texans on your schedule, you're probably terrified, whereas earlier in the season, that might not have been the case. But, on the other hand, too, squeezing 18 points per game out of that offense has been a lot to ask. And obviously, missing it, the biggest reason would be for their front five, their pass protection, their ability to get any push up front in the run game. They currently rank 31st in pass block win rate and 32nd in run block win rate. Like, I don't know. I don't know how Davis Mills has stepped in and done as well as he has. I know that in my research, Woody Marks has been a big help in pass protection. So I think that has helped. But I don't know, man. Like, is Davis Mills just that guy? Like,
you know the answer. We both know the answer. He's just better. But like, honestly though, he's a really good backup.
He is.
Like he wasn't he wasn't like some UDFA. Like he was a legitimate prospect, and he was like a 3rd-round pick. Like he
Mhm.
definitely wasn't just some like scrub off the street that they found that's playing well. Like this isn't Jake Browning. Davis Mills is like a 6'5", like good arm, shockingly effective runner sometimes. Like he can get stuff done. He is in that like Tanner McKee, bucket of
Yeah.
backup quarterbacks that I think could come in and like be legit. Because there's
Mhm.
more than just 32 good quarterbacks in this world. Like I would rather have Davis Mills than probably 6 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Yes.
Like I'm not even kidding. And we'll talk about some quarterbacks I think he's better than later. But yeah, I mean, like if you can just if he can string together some more good games, if Stroud can come back and play as well as Davis Mills freaking did, I think they're going to be just fine. If they can unlock wherever Nico Collins has been, like he's been too quiet. They drafted 2 rookie receivers that are just kind of starting to come onto the scene better. Dalton Schultz sucks. Like there's a couple of things we need to do better here, but the rookie receivers coming on is a huge help. Hopefully, it's not just Davis Mills doing that.
Yeah, I think Davis Mills is also probably assisted in that. Like, I think he's decisive. I don't know what his time to throw is off the top of my head, but I feel like I rarely see him dropping back and holding out to the ball for very long at all, which is anti Stroud. Like Stroud is the complete opposite. So we're talking about 2 polar opposite quarterbacks behind an offensive line that we know isn't very good. And I'm not going to say it's no surprise that things are going better, but it does make sense that the quarterback that's taller, a lot more decisive, and quick to throw is not having wild success, but it doesn't seem like the offense is necessarily tanking them either, which was certainly the case at times with Stroud. Is just the sacks were unbearable. He was clearly uncomfortable. So it could have been whoever stepped in there. Like if they walked out with Cooper Rush back there, like the Ravens did, the season would have been over. But Davis Mills, to your point, isn't that, and he is playing better quarterback than some actual starters that are paid a lot of money.
Yeah, I do think he's solid. Like, I don't think this is just like this might be my version of Jacoby Brissett, but I do firmly believe if you put Davis Mills in a starting role, I think that he could produce better than a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL today.
This feels like a good opportunity.
Hmm.
Who are you talking about? we have to talk about it.
There's a couple of them, but I think if you put him on the Panthers, I think they have a better passing offense. Absolutely. And that's kind of what I was going to bring up next. I mean, what a segue really is. The Panthers were actually my next team at a 15% chance to make the playoffs. And the reason I said they might not, make it or make a run is because of Bryce Young and the passing offense. Because like we've joked about 1,000 times, but seriously, if they're not playing the Falcons, they suck. Like they cannot pass the football, and their last 3 first-round picks have gone quarterback, wide receiver, and they still have a well below average passing offense. That's inexcusable. One of them was a first overall pick, another top 10 receiver, and then another one in Xavier Legette that they drafted in the first round, and they're still one of the worst passing units in the league, which is super weird. But like with the way that he operates, I would rather have Davis Mills in that offense.
Yeah, someone that also just is better for a team that like get the ball out. Like Bryce Young is also the king of questionable decision making. He was so bad against the 49ers. It was embarrassing. Like I had secondhand embarrassment for Bryce Young at some of the decisions he was making. Like that pick he threw on the goal line was like Trevor Lawrence-esque stupid.
It was.
Like, what are you thinking?
That was like his strong suit coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember like he didn't even really get NFL pro comps. Every actual pro comp for him was like some kind of NBA point guard. It was Curry, it was Chris Paul. Because everyone was like, this isn't going to be a guy that stands back there and looks like your normal quarterback. He's going to scramble around, be a facilitator, pass the ball to the open guys, get assists. Like his passes look like assists, not throws. And the whole point was like he's cerebral. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't take bad sacks. Doesn't turn the ball over. really good in the clutch, but that hasn't been him at all, really. And I don't think they've really tried to change his game much either. It's not working against the big boys right now, unless the big boys are in Atlanta, and it's a huge problem. And I said the only way, like when I wrote down why they could make a run, I put honestly I don't know, and then in parentheses I put Dowdle rushing for 200 yards maybe, because that's really the only way they've been able to muster any offense is if Dowdle just carries them. In last game against the Niners, he had 6 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence that they had like the worst offense ever, and the one person that's been carrying them to wins only had 6 rush attempts?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
I was gonna say that if you didn't bring it up, like would they score 9 points? I think
Something
maybe
like that, yeah.
maybe 12. I can't recall, but
Something bad.
Something really bad. And you look at Bryce Young's stat line, and then you look at Rico Dowdle's stat line, and you're like, well, that makes sense why they didn't win that game. Bryce Young played like Bryce Young typically does, and it wasn't enough. They looked terrible. And when Rico Dowdle's, stumped, then they're fucked. It really is unfortunate because the Panthers have waited a bit since Cam Newton departed to kind of find that next quarterback. They make that huge trade for Bryce. And not only are they not confident he's the guy, but they're just stuck in this limbo state of like, okay, well, like, is he or is he not? And they have no idea. Like, it's so hard to tell. We feel like we have a good pulse on it, but if I'm in the organization's shoes, I also would have a pretty hard time making a firm decision on whether or not this is who I'd want to move forward with. It's like, at least with JJ McCarthy, as we speak, it's pretty definitive. It feels pretty definitive that if you chose to move on at the end of the season, you would be really vindicated in that decision. Yeah. But with the Panthers, it's like, I don't know, like maybe not. It just is really a sucky way to just enter this mediocre phase of life, which is the worst one to be in. I'd rather just be bad.
Yeah, because like if you're bad, you don't have any questions. You're like, I know what's wrong. Like if you're the Jets or the Saints, you're like, okay, I know what's wrong. Like I know what problems we have here. I know how to fix them. It's just whether or not we can find the guys to do it. For the Panthers, it's pretty easy to tell the problem. Like they're not passing the football well. They need quarterbacks. They still need more receivers. It's not hard to tell. But for them, they're winning too many games to have those questions probably. Like they have a 15% chance to make the playoffs. The Buccaneers are hurt to all hell. They're starting to lose games. It's only really a matter of time before if the Panthers can string together a couple wins, the Bucs lose a couple more games, and the Panthers think that they're a contending team, and they think that Bryce Young is still that guy. Like, I mean, I'm sure internally the coach is pissed at him because he knows that like he's not executing anything he's asking him to. But the brass upstairs, if they're winning games, like it's hard not to just keep that quarterback.
Stumbling into a division win would be the worst possible thing for Carolina right now.
Yes.
Like by a mile. And the more I think about it too, I don't even think the offense is overperforming necessarily. Like I think they've been fine.
They're like the 22nd ranked offense. Like they're not even like doing that well.
Right. It's the defense on the other hand that has been way better than I ever expected. And I think Jairo Rivera is doing a great job, but it almost feels Commanders-esque, 2024 Commanders-esque, where these guys are just like this. Like Mike Jackson is like, he was like a terrorist a few weeks ago playing against, oh my God, who was that receiver that he was covering and they just wouldn't take him off him? Oh my God.
Let me find it.
There was a game a few weeks back where Panthers Twitter was ready to kill Mike Jackson, or at least Avero, because they just kept putting Mike Jackson on this receiver. He just kept getting fucking fried.
Who did they lose? Was this like recently?
I think it was. It was like probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe a little.
They haven't even played a good receiver in a couple. It wasn't Pickens, was it?
No, I don't. It might have been. It was like 5, maybe even longer.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Okay,
but yeah, Dowdle ran for 183 yards that game. I mean, yeah, Pickens had 168 yards and a touchdown.
That was probably the game.
So that was
then.
probably it. Yeah. Which is
But
crazy because of J.C. Horn is playing like a top 5 corner in the league right now.
mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, it just feels like their defense is performing better than they would long term. Like you run this defense back, I think you look like the 2025 Commanders, really. And that will also be their Achilles heel, thinking, oh, look, our defense is playing well, so we can kind of not worry about patching that up too much. And then maybe the offense is slightly better in 2026, and then the defense fucking sucks. So then you're just like back at square one. So it's just not good. Like I know we make fun of them a lot. They're kind of our punching bag now, but
they are. But God, like they make no sense.
They don't. Man.
Like it's just 15% chance to make the playoffs. It's still too high, but it's still possible because their division is so bad.
Yep, it is. I think that I like honestly, if Baker strolls out there next week, or I'm sorry, if Teddy Bridgewater strolls out there next week, I don't know. It could get dicey real fast for Panthers fans, unfortunately. Well, my next team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I found an updated playoff probability article, and they are currently at 38% to make the postseason. And I'll start with why I think they miss it. They, specifically their defense, talk about underperforming. They have been just not playing up to expectation, up to the amount that they've been being paid all season. But the biggest Achilles heel for them has been the amount of explosive plays that they have allowed. They get to like third down and they give up a 20-yard gain. Or there was controversy this past week against the Bears where Chicago came out in a trip set and the Steelers were in cover 3 and they just bombed verticals and it was the easiest touchdown of all time. Like, and reporters were asking Tomlin, like, what the fuck was that? Like, why did that happen? And it really is a problem. Like they rank 27th right now. They're bottom 5 in explosive play rate allowed. And the run defense has actually improved. That was a big issue to start the year. But now it's just against the pass. Like in the last 5 games, they ranked 29th in explosive plays allowed through the air. So it just, when you finally feel like the pass rush is getting some footing and the secondary can't figure their shit out, or the scheme is just failing them, which sounds like it's more so the case because I think Mike Tomlin and company is under more fire from Pittsburgh fans right now than I feel like I've heard in a while. It's rough. Like it's really bad. Like Jalen Ramsey's like going back and forth between positions, and he knows what he's doing at safety, but he's also going to make mistakes here and there. It's going to be their defense, their secondary that ends up blowing it, I think.
Yeah, but it's like we're saying, like they don't have bad personnel in the secondary. Like, I mean, even freaking James Pierre has like actually been playing kind of well.
Yeah.
But it's like we talked about it preseason. It's the age, it's the speed, and that's why they keep giving up a lot of these big plays. Is like they can be in good position, freaking, 8 times out of 9, but they're so freaking slow and old back there that they're gonna get torched a couple times, and it's gonna make a huge difference. So like I don't think they have like an overall bad defense, but their speed is so susceptible to just getting the freaking top taken off of them. Like they made DJ Moore look like a freaking beast. Like they've made a lot of bad play. DJ Moore's not bad, but they've made a lot of bad players look really, really good. And they've made DJ Moore, who's fine, look really, really good.
Yeah, DJ Moore has been riding the struggle bus lately.
Yeah.
And he even had a very good week. So I think the biggest problem with them is I don't trust them to figure it out. Like, I don't trust Tomlin. Who trusts Tomlin at this point? I don't think a single soul. So,
no. But
on the other hand, the reason why I think they make it, funny enough, is because of one player. I listed his name and his name only. It's Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington is like the Rico Dowdle to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, he is the engine to Pittsburgh right now. Easily the most versatile, multi-dimensional player on this team. He is, if you can believe this, second on the team in receiving yards since week 9.
Which is crazy because he has like 230 on the year.
Take a guess who's first.
It's probably not DK. It's probably Kenneth Gainwell, isn't it?
It is. It's
oh my god,
Gainwell. Oh my god, how'd you get that? It's gross.
Because it's stupid. Because I watch all their games. DK is nowhere to be found in the last like month or two.
Yep.
But like Darnell, like he's been solid, but even then, like he's not even like a good receiving tight end. It's just the fact that like I don't think all year, I don't think he's even had a game over 70 yards. He's had one over 65, and he has one touchdown. But this is still like by far their most important player because their run game is weird. The receivers suck. But this big offensive tackle playing tight end is like the guy that shows up in all of their wins. And he doesn't show up when they lose. Like it's pretty clear like when they utilize him as the focal point, they win, and when they don't, they lose.
He doesn't run as many routes as the other guys, of course, because of who he is,
Can't.
but
Yeah.
he just physically can't. But he leads the team in targets per route run and yards per route run, which is just wild to me.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers likes him a lot, but on the other hand, he's really, if you look at that team, those weapons top to bottom, the only one that offers some sort of matchup positive. Like there's nothing else about who they have that makes you think, oh, I want to throw to him on this play because I like what he has in front of him. Like that just doesn't happen with really anybody at this stage. So
yeah, freaking Pat Frymouth was getting top 10 arguments in the preseason. Now he's like their tight end 3.
Literally. But I mean, and then of course his impact in the run game is really where he's positive. Like this guy is an extension of the offensive line, and he really does it all for them. He is their best run blocker, and I think without him, this offensive line would struggle to move the ball on the ground. So if Darnell Washington continues to be that well-oiled machine he's been, then I think the Steelers can continue to win some games. But if he's kind of phased out one way or another, then I don't know how many points they're really going to be able to score, which is insane to say out loud.
No. Yeah, it's part of the reason why I've had to give them credit because I feel like their offense has actually like overperformed. Like I feel like they've actually been putting up more points than they're like on paper really supposed to be doing. But like we were talking about earlier, they're completely backwards. Like if they had this offense with last year's defense, this is a really solid football team. But unfortunately, they didn't, and they signed a bunch of old people to be in their secondary, and they've kind of just mismanaged their time with that. And now they're all old and slow, and they give up a bunch of bombs.
Yep, basically. So hopefully Darnell can save the day.
Yes, put him out wide. But it's weird. He's not even like that great of a contested catch guy.
No.
It's really weird. Like you just want to throw him into the flat and hope he just runs people over.
Yeah, it's literally the game plan.
Yeah, but like he's been better at even like these just like short little turnaround routes because people are like, oh fuck, here he comes, and they back up and they like embrace the impact. Then he turns around real quick and catches the ball, and they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then they just jump on his legs and he falls down. But like, yeah, if they can get that boy moving in space, way different. But with Pat Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith, like they bore me.
Compared to Darnell, absolutely.
Yeah,
I want a Darnell. I used to be a Darnell Washington hater. I will say that.
I mean, just because like playing a real tight end role, it wouldn't be the same. Like he can't run routes. He doesn't own any. He runs forward and turns around, catches it, and just starts running. Like he's just groaning like a moose.
That's football. That is football.
Yes.
At its foundation is just running somewhere, turning around, and catching it.
Tyler Warren way. Like draft Twitter, they overthink shit. Like they're like Tyler Warren. He doesn't have that many routes, and who cares? Throw him the ball in the flat, and he'll run you over. Just let him run a curl, a hook, run a hit. Like who cares? Just let him catch it and run you over. You're scared of him, and it's gonna happen. Like that's partially why Darnell. Like it's why he started off kind of slow. Like they kind of mismanaged who he is, and now they're like, all right, fuck, get up to 320, buddy. Let's just consume this and be the blocking tight end. And now he has, and now he's actually a better receiver than he's ever been.
Yeah, he is. You love to see it. You love to see things like this. This makes football fun.
Yeah, he's bigger than Broderick Jones.
Yeah, literally. Who they might not have in week 13, which is not good.
Slide a minute left. Darnell, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Team? My next team, now we jump up a huge amount. Last percentage was 15%. The Bears are at 59%. And this is the last team that I would call like bubble. The rest of the teams have a pretty good chance. But the Bears are kind of on that. They should make the playoffs, but their division's really tough. And their schedule's been really easy. So we're not entirely sure. But why I could is because they're winning tight games. They have an easy schedule, and they haven't beaten a lot of good teams, but they're winning games that they've struggled in. And to me, that's a good sign because their offense has been really good. Their defense has been very poor, but they're getting some guys back. Like Jalen Johnson is a legit all-pro level corner that they have been without the entire season. So if they can get him back in timely manner, I feel really good about their odds. We're not really worried about the offense so much, but that is the reason why I think they couldn't. Is if for some reason we haven't really seen Caleb play in high leverage football games. He just hasn't been in the opportunity. So we have no idea what that looks like. And his play, while stellar, can also be really, really inconsistent. So while that's the thing that's been best for them was Caleb in the offense, I think that also can be the reason why they don't make it very far.
Yeah, the margin for error for Caleb has been very large. Just because of the games they've played in, like you said, it's just not been important. Like they play teams that give them a lot of cushion to make mistakes. And they've played in games where, they're either winning by a lot or, as in last year's case, losing by a lot. So the pressure's not been high. So it will be interesting, especially this week. Thanksgiving, they get the Eagles. So this will be a pretty big game within the conference and probably the first and biggest test of his career. But you hit the nail on the head. Like he's so inconsistent. Like he will throw the dumbest pass and complete it that you've ever seen in your life, but then miss like a simple dig route or like a throw up the seam he puts behind the receiver. And it's like, Caleb, bro, like what the fuck? Or he'll do what he did. It's annoying
for anyone that supports him. You're like,
yes,
really?
Like he do what he did against the Steelers. It's like he just kind of reverts back into what the hell was that, Caleb? Which was that fumble into the end zone, which resulted in a touchdown, which was it just can't happen. And in a game against the Steelers and you're facing Mason Rudolph, you can get away with it. But when if you have a mistake like that against the Eagles, you probably lose the game. And I would go as far as to say that even if you miss like 2 or 3 passes that could have resulted in a big first down at some point in the game, that could lose you the game alone. And he does that pretty often enough to worry, I will say.
He does. And that's why I do think if there is a reason why they don't make it, obviously their defense isn't great, but I think that they will be improved. I think they've been better the last couple of weeks, and I think that they will continue to get better. So that's not like my biggest concern because we know what they are. My concern is that they've had like a top 10 offense so far this season, and it hasn't quite looked like it, I guess. Like this, like you said, they still miss a lot of big plays that they could have. They run the ball fine, but like they haven't really had a lot of dominant performances, and the inconsistency is it's a little bit too frequent for me to be like full confident saying I think Caleb will carry this team. It's still question marks there for sure, but I am a believer. Like I think it's very possible. I think it's more likely than not, but at the same time, it's a little worrisome. It's not confident.
Yeah, definitely. But to Bears fans' credit, they have a lot to be excited about because this is part of the upswing. This is the climb of the roller coaster. This isn't the fall post climax. So to be 8-3 and winning close games like you mentioned, that this is as good of a season as they could have asked for in the first Ben Johnson year. My next team was the Chiefs. They currently have a 52% chance to make the postseason. And the reason why I think they make it is because of their ability to stop the run. And overall this season, I was going to look at their metrics against the ground game, and I'm like, these metrics are kind of like not great. Like their EPA against the run, EPA a lot against the run isn't great. Like their run stop win rate wasn't great. I'm like, what the like? Why are they so good at stopping the run? They've only given up one 100-yard rusher all year, and that was to James Cook a couple of weeks ago. But over the last couple of weeks, when I kind of narrowed down the sample size, it got to be pretty clear. Like they held the Broncos to 59 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor to 58 rushing yards. And really, from what I understand, the biggest reason is just that they've gotten better. Like they've just improved from the early part of the season. They're fitting the run better. Their gap control is tighter, doing a great job tackling. Like the stat that stood out to me was the yards after contact after week 10 has decreased from 2.3 yards per carry to 1.5 yards per carry. So they're just not getting pushed back and pushed around as much as they were. And guys like their linebackers, I think, have been the stars of the show. Like Drew Tranquill, Leo Chanel, and Nick Bolton have been holding down the fort in the middle of that defense. So it's been a big reason for their turnaround.
Yeah, I would easily go as far to say Leo Chanel is one of the most underrated football players in the NFL. And I would take him over like a huge chunk of linebackers that are considered like top 15 or top 20. That's how high I am on him. But yeah, they look a lot better. I think having Rashee Rice back there, I think that they finally figured out that Kareem Hunt is their starting running back. It's not Pacheco. Unfortunately for them, they learned that after too many games where Mahomes was their leading rusher. And they were like, oh yeah, this guy can't take volume. He can't catch. He can't actually run routes. He won't even look the right way. So they're just figuring out their personnel. Unfortunately, they've just dropped too many games. Like they're a top 10 statistically. I think they're a top 8 offense and defense yardage wise in the NFL. But like the good things aren't happening at the same time.
Right.
Their defense will be great on a day that their offense is just horrendous, and vice versa. And it's hard to like ever count out the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's not that hard to do this year. Mahomes is not playing magical, and in fact, I'd go as far to say he's not even playing good.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like that was why I wrote down that they would miss, and it would be because of the Chiefs' downfield passing offense. It's very easy to say, the run game sucks and that's going to be a problem, but they've mitigated around this problem before. But this year it just feels like it's way more of a problem. And, when you have a quarterback that currently is 24th out of 30 in completion percentage of passes that are 20 yards downfield at just like 35%, like that's a problem. But it's also a wide receiver issue also. Like they don't have physical boundary guys. They don't have contested catch receivers. So really what their downfield passing game is if they flat out run by somebody and he throws it, he has to hit it, which he hasn't been. But then if he throws it and they're not completely wide open, they're just never catching it. So it's almost like they're just never on the same page about whether or not Mahomes is going to hit the bomb when they're open, or if he throws it when they're not open, they're just never going to meet him in the middle. So it really is killer. Like they won the game against the Colts on a 3rd down in overtime on a deep shot to Worthy. It was the only pass 20 yards downfield that they hit all game, and it sealed the deal. So if they're able to start to hit those on a more consistent basis, then I think we won't have much to worry about when it comes to the Chiefs anymore. But that's really what I think has been killing them, because that's supposed to be the strength of the offense with all of this speed. And when that's not clicking, like, oh no, like you're not expecting this running back group to be the savior. So I don't want to write it down as why they miss, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, like the deep shot not being there it's insane, because they're part of the reason why we've seen too many like too high safety looks.
Yeah.
Because they were just taking the top off of people, and they've kind of had to come down into a more concise, compact underneath offense, and they've kind of mastered it to a degree with guys like Rashee Rice and Kelsey. Like that's kind of been their offense for the last 4 years. And now people are kind of catching on to that, and now they're inviting the deep ball again, because they're not that confident that it's being hit anymore. Because it's not Tyreek getting like 8 yards of separation. which I think is part of the reason why we kind of felt Mahomes had a great deep ball before, was that Tyreek just had so much separation downfield that like it didn't fully matter. As long as he got the ball down there, it would be caught. But now that, I mean, Xavier Worthy's a really fast guy, but he doesn't get downfield separation all that great. Like it usually still requires a ball in the bucket to get it. And it's Mahomes has never been a great bucket thrower. Like he just doesn't have the throwing motion for that. He doesn't have the mechanics to be a great bucket guy. Like he's just kind of a rocket launcher. And thus far it's not been super great for him.
No, it hasn't. It's really been killer. So we'll see. I saw once again, I was on Chiefs Twitter when I was looking into this, trying to indulge myself. And apparently I didn't watch the film from front to back on every route Xavier Worthy ran, but I did notice, and I did even read about him having his route tree kind of expanded a little bit more. And, it kind of led to that opportunity late in the game where he was able to, he just ran a crossing route, if I remember correctly, and he got open. And usually, I mean, Worthy's running these gadgety, like he kind of gets pigeonholed the same way that Rice does. Like we don't really see these guys getting downfield too often. So maybe it's also a scheme thing to some extent. Dare we say it with Andy Reid?
It might be. But. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen the Andy Reid like out scheming people that much this year. It's really taking a lot of grit and it's taking a lot of defense to win these games. So it is a little bit worrisome if you're this like super pro Mahomes and Andy Reid will figure it out. Like they're an inevitable force. Like that's kind of how it's felt like their entire careers. They're just an inevitable force late in games and in the playoffs. They're just going to beat you and you will take it like the good boy you are. But like now it's like they are like a legitimately beatable team. And in fact, I almost feel kind of confident going into those games now.
Yeah, I don't see, well, unless you're a Bills fan.
Yeah. Thankfully, like my team was kind of the one that found out they were beatable.
Yeah.
And that was really nice to write on for a while our defense was not the worst ever. But yeah, they're definitely a worse team than they were in those days.
Yeah, they're no longer that team, like you said, that they're just going to figure it out. They're just going to win. Like every time I watch the Chiefs now, with my family, they're like, we all know how this is going to end. And while the Colts game did end that way.
Yeah, it happens.
They're just not that team still. Like you can very clearly see how much they are struggling to make the smallest of things happen. Like it's not like when they want it, they'll get it anymore. Where I think to some extent it is, but against a team like the Colts, I don't think that was as much of the Colts or the Chiefs figuring it out. It was more so I think the Colts kind of shooting themselves in the foot, which I guess is always the case in a comeback, but you get my point.
I mean, it's going to happen. Like like the Chiefs aren't going to go from like the most lucky magical team of all time to like the worst. Yeah. They're still going to have those moments, but they used to borderline rely on it. Like to the fact where people used to kind of confuse them of accuse them of being like LeBron and just load management, not even trying that hard in certain games where like they would turn it on in the last 5 minutes, kick a game-winning field goal, and they'd go home. Like they were accused of this because of how good they were at it. And right now their record kind of reflects that they have not been. They're 6-5, I believe, off the top of my head. Yep. That's not a good record, by the way, especially when, in their division, the other teams are getting pretty good. The Broncos are comfortably ahead of them in record right now and have at least a super, super, super elite defense to kind of lean on. And the Chiefs, while they're very well rounded, like they don't have a lot of weaknesses, they don't really have anything to fully lean on because Mahomes isn't even playing like the Mahomes that we have known the last 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, the broken plays that we typically see where someone leaks free in the secondary because Mahomes is doing whatever shit he is able to do in the backfield. Like we haven't even seen those hit too often where Kelsey gets lost 20 yards downfield. Like that stuff is even mitigated, which when I was going back and looking was what I kind of was expecting to see was like, okay, obviously Mahomes still isn't hitting those bombs, but they're still finding success downfield because of his play extending ability, but that's not even really been that consistent either. So
No,
they're begging. They are begging a lot of
they
the
are
time.
begging. They are begging.
Holy shit.
It's not a good thing to kind of rely on as just a pixie dust and begging.
Literally, but I think the other thing they've been accused of was just like sacrificing like somebody in the locker room pregame last year, at least.
Yeah, they probably got banned from that.
Yeah, that method got patched.
It
got
should
patched.
be, by the way.
The sacrificial Juju Smith-Schuster for a
Yeah,
random Week
God,
12
he's dead
game.
now. Well, I don't really have a lot. I wouldn't say I have any other bubble teams. Like those were the top 3 in the NFC. I will give a quick shout out to the Lions and the Packers, who within that division with the Bears, they're all kind of scrapping. They're ahead. They each have above a 75% chance to make the playoffs. So they're looking really good. But a random collapse could happen. So the Lions and the Packers are both teams to kind of watch, but I still do pretty firmly believe they're both in.
I would agree. I think, especially with Frank Ragnow coming out of retirement,
Christ's sake, dude,
out of nowhere to save their season because Goff has not been too comfy cozy in the pocket with some of the interior issues they've been having. So, assuming Frank Ragnow is not too rusty, I'd say it's safe to suggest that the Lions will click a little bit more through the air within these next couple of weeks. So that was a huge boost for them. The AFC, like there really are, just especially if you consider the teams that are in a spot right now, but could very easily collapse for XYZ reasons. Like there's a lot of them, and the Chargers make that list for me too. Like they currently sit at 7-4 with a 58% chance to make the playoffs, but they 2 weeks ago lost 38-6 to Trevor Lawrence. Like that did not get talked about enough. How badly they were browbeaten and embarrassed by a team that is a laughingstock 50% of the time. And they just might be their kryptonite. Like they came back on them in the postseason a couple of years ago. Now here they are again. And this time they just get flat out smoked. But the reason they miss it is the exact reason why they got beat up in that game is just their front five is just decimated. Like, I don't know who cursed this organization, but no matter who the coach is, who the general manager is, their injury luck just does not get better. Like PFF right now has their starting 5 left to right as follows: Trevor Penning at left tackle. I don't even know how that's possible. Zion Johnson at guard, Bradley Bozeman at center, Mekhi Becton at right guard, and then Bobby Hart at right tackle, which I know has been a thing. So
Bobby Hart was the worst football player I've ever watched in my life on the bench. I know he's better now, which is really strange. Like he's actually been serviceable, but at the same time, like he's not bringing you anything outside of just being a really strong traffic cone. Whereas I know, like I don't even know what they have going for right now. Like people are kind of hating on Herbert still somehow because he's kind of been worse than he was to start off the season. But Quentin Johnston's fairy dust kind of fizzled into existence, and he's kind of just been irrelevant and injured. Keenan Allen's fairy dust also fizzled away. That's just kind of called being old, and that's what a full football season does to old people. Like it's kind of really just exposed like who they are as a football team. Ladd McConkey has came back to the light because we know he's a good football player. We know he didn't just regress out of nowhere, and they are kind of who we thought they were. Like this is kind of the Chargers team that we thought, minus the 1,000 injuries.
Yep, pretty much. And they have a good defense, but not one that will them to games. Like
no, they're too mediocre on paper. Like I think they do really well for what they got, but like Tyler Tart's like their best player right now.
Yeah.
He's been killing it, but
he
like
really is.
You can't like their corner room on paper, their linebackers on paper. Everything's so boring on paper, and they've outplayed that, but they're not an elite unit at the time being at all.
No, not in the least bit. And Herbert does what he can under duress, but he is definitely susceptible to looking like a, what the fuck are you doing kind of quarterback. Like he will have those moments, and he tries, man. But it just everybody, they're humans. So when you have apparently Trevor Penning at tackle, which I cannot imagine is correct. Like, is that really did that happen?
He used to be a tackle.
Yeah, but like is it that bad?
I don't know.
Did Trey Pipkins get hurt?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well that would explain that because I was kind of wondering where Trey Pipkins was.
Who was the other guy they used to have? He went to I think Toledo. Who was their other? Oh, Storm Norton. Where'd he go? I don't think he's even on the team anymore. No, he's on the Falcons. Yeah.
Let me just pull up my Storm Norton archive and tell you what team he's on now.
Well, if you have archives, where did Joe Mixon go?
Joe Mixon, the answer to that question is no one knows. But the funny part is, a few weeks ago, it came out that he's not returning this season, to which he quote tweeted, "Who told you that?" but like, I don't know, Joe. You tell us where you are. So
yeah, it's probably true because this was supposed to only be like a couple-week thing, and now you're just gone off the face of the earth. No one knows where you went. He's probably just shooting more kids in his backyard in Anderson Township.
This stuff is just, I mean, I understand, like, I guess maybe privacy and whatever, but I do think to some extent, if a player misses a large amount of time for an unspoken reason, you don't have to give details, but there has to be some sort of light shed. Like,
yes,
I hope that Josh Simmons worked through whatever happened, but the fact that it was almost like not even acknowledged, he just kind of left. Everyone was like, what's going on here? And then he just kind of came back. And even just for the sake of, wishing him well, like, I don't know. I just think it would be nice. Oh, he just had, some mental health problems. That's all you got to say. Or he had a family emergency. Like, who knows what it was? Yeah. But why is that? Why do you bring more attention to it by not addressing it, I guess is ultimately my point. And the same thing with Joe Mixon. It's like, what could you possibly have had happen to your ankle? Did a zombie bite it and they don't want to know that there's an apocalypse going on? Like, what? Just tell us, this thing got infected and now I'm out. Like, I don't know, just anything. But the more you make it mysterious, the more the public is going to wonder because that's how people are. They're curious.
Yeah. At that point, they feel like you're just quitting.
Yeah, right.
That's to me how it feels. It's like Joe Mixon just doesn't want to come back this year. That's how it's going to feel if you just disappear completely off. Like we're not seeing you on the sideline. Like we're not seeing anything. We don't even know where you are physically. Right. Where are you on? What are your coordinates?
Yeah. Right.
Like actually,
what are your XY coordinates right now?
We'll send you a care package.
Are you on level 10? Are you mining for diamonds? Was that
we're gonna send him a Cortland Sutton T-shirt for his troubles.
A Cortland Sutton T-shirt, a Jacoby Brissett T-shirt, Davis Mills T-shirt. We'll send him a whole care package.
I don't think we're gonna be giving out free Cortland Sutton T-shirts this year. He was supposed to have what, like 1,010? Was that his?
I think it was 1,212.
We'll be lucky to get 808. All right.
Look, at this point. Look, the good news is, the very good news is that over the course of the next few weeks, the Broncos face the Commanders, the Raiders, the Packers, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. A couple tough matchups, but there are some opportunities for bounce back here.
It is true.
It just sucks that
he has unfortunately only had one touchdown since September 29th.
Yeah, Bo Nix definitely put on the terrorist cape these last few weeks. Dude. And Troy Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, since October 12th, he has one game with 5 or more catches.
I don't get it, but
one game over 70 yards, one touchdown. He's putting up like Pat Bryant numbers, and Pat Bryant is putting up Cortland Sutton numbers, and Troy Franklin is putting up Cortland Sutton targets.
Like, I don't think his target share is that bad though. Like, he's seen 6 since week 7, 6, 4, 1. Oh no, wait, those are receptions. Since week 7, 9, 6, 6, 4, 6 in terms of targets, and he's had in terms of receptions 6, 4, 1, 3, 4. So it's like, I don't know. I think Bo Nix is just ass. It's kind of a problem.
Maybe. I don't know. Davis, who would you rather have, Bo Nix or Davis Mills?
Oh God,
in Denver.
I mean, if they had a little bit more of an effective run game, I think I might say Davis Mills. But the run game can get stuffed so easily. And the one thing Bo Nix does do well is escape and create. So if it weren't for that, truthfully, this team would probably be like in the Texans position right now, like barely 6-5, like scraping away victories with their defense. But because Bo Nix can actually move, they've won more games than they probably should have. And he's hit a couple of timely deep balls, which to his credit deserves some acknowledgement because he beat the Chiefs with it. Really.
Yeah, he's actually like the opposite quarterback that I thought. I thought he'd be like a dink and dunk only quarterback, and right now he's like a run and gun, downfield throws or bust at the current moment, which is really weird because all he did in college was throw screens and RPOs.
Yeah, he's just a maniac at this point. Like,
yeah,
he's going out there playing backyard football every down.
Yeah, we thought he'd be like the next Drew Brees. Now he's just he's like Jameis Winston.
It's like early Josh Allen to some extent, like just out there,
but like half the size.
Yes,
and half the arm.
Munchkin,
and like old.
He is old, very old. Well, that will cover the teams we are going to touch on in episode 77. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Happy holidays if you celebrate. Happy Thanksgiving. We're thankful for all of our listeners, everyone in the Discord. If you want to be a part, that is linked down in the description. But if you have any closing thoughts, you can.
Oh, no, I am part Native American, so we don't always.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I
root for the good guys.
I don't believe you.
Ask my great-great-grandma, whatever it was.
Oh, my God.
So root for the good guys this Thanksgiving. But still, thank you guys for tuning in. And we will be rooting on Bryce Young's downfall for the next year or so.
Yes, we will. We'll see you guys in episode 78.